She's a real. I didn't vote for myself. What? Somebody else voted for you.
Now we got to get next time. That will be a problem.
Wasn't you? If it wasn't you, then we got a mystery.
I'm not in your district.
Please stand for a moment of silence and salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Adequate notice of this meeting was provided to the Westfield Leader, advertised on January 9, 2014. Notification was sent to the Star Ledger and prominently posted on the Municipal Public Bulletin Board and filed in the office of the Municipal Clerk, informing the public of the time and place according to the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Law, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975. I put on my serious reading language here. Okay. At this time, I would like to ask that everyone silence their cell phones, Blackberries, or whatever you happen to have with you. If you must take a call, please do so out in the hall. Roll call, please, Ms. Ariano.
Mayor Petracchi? Here. Council President Palmer? Here. Councilman Martin?
Present.
Councilman Matthew?
Here.
Councilman Neerset?
Present.
Councilman Petrozelli?
Here.
And Councilwoman Tedisco? Here.
Minutes, please, Ms. Ariano.
Regular meeting of the Mayor and Council held on May 27, 2014. Workshop session of the Mayor and Council held on May 27, 2014. Executive session of the Mayor and Council held on May 24, 2014.
Are there any corrections or changes? May I have a motion to accept the minutes as presented?
Make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Ariano, communications, please.
New Jersey State League of Municipalities, Mayor's Fax Advisories,
Received and filed.
Borough Planning Board Minutes,
Received and filed. Ordinances. Tonight we have a public hearing on ordinance 14-07, 14-08, 14-09, and 14-10 as advertised in the Westfield Leader on May 30th, 2014. Ms. Ariano, please read ordinance 14-07 by title only.
yes, Mayor, an ordinance authorizing the sale of certain real property to the Rural Valley Sewage Authority.
Do we have any correspondence concerning ordinance 14-07?
None, Mayor.
Does anyone present wish to be heard concerning ordinance 14-07?
Dennis McCarthy, 632 Myrtle Avenue. Can you tell me what properties they are?
I can. They're not really properties that we're selling, even though that's how the ordinance is titled. Apparently, we received a request from Railway Valley from the attorney and from the authority. Apparently, in 1951, when the Railway Valley went from a joint meeting to a sewerage authority, there were certain properties that were held by all of the member municipalities as the joint meeting. So, for example, the properties were held by the Borough of Garwood, the Township of Cranford, the City of Rawley, and so forth. Somehow, when the transfer took place from the joint meeting to the authority and the municipalities deeded the land that the authority plant is on to the Railway Valley Sewerage Authority, they apparently missed one. So there's a piece of property somewhere in Woodbridge or Railway or someplace that everybody thought belonged to the authority for the last 60-something years, but somehow a title search turned up that it didn't belong to them. So what we're doing is all the municipalities are passing this ordinance to correct this oversight from 1951.
Actually, two block lots. One is a small block in Woodbridge and a small piece in Norway.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? If not, may I have a motion to close the public hearing on ordinance 14-07?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Is there, may I have a motion to adopt ordinance 14-07?
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance number 14-07, Mayor.
May I have
Second.
a second? Any discussion? Council? There being none, roll call please, Ms. Ariano.
Council President Palmer.
Aye.
Councilman Martin.
Aye.
Councilman Matthew.
Aye.
Councilman Neersted.
Yes.
Councilman Petrozelli.
Aye.
Councilwoman Disco.
Aye.
We'll move along to the next one, which is ordinance 14-08. Ms. Ariano, will you please read it by title only?
Yes, Mayor, an ordinance to amend 5-18 compensation and Article 4 Office of the Borough Attorney in Chapter 5 Administration of Code of the Borough of Garwood to revise the method of compensation of the Borough Attorney.
Is there any correspondence concerning ordinance 14-08?
None, Mayor.
Is there anyone present who wishes to be heard concerning ordinance 14-08? Yes, Mr. Thomas?
Good evening, Mayor, ladies and gentlemen of the council. Bruce Patterson, 325 Mill Avenue. This is actually in reference to 1408 and 1409. And Borough Attorney Renan did explain it in the other meeting. He said it was a correction to the code where the attorney and the prosecutor is paid by salary, but hasn't been salary for years, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm just wondering, so what is the difference now of what we're looking at? I guess it was just an oversight. You were getting paid in a different form, and now you're just cleaning up the ordinance?
Yes, in other words, the ordinance for, 100 years said that the borough attorney will receive such salary as the, mayor and council shall determine, or something to that effect. That stopped being the case about 4 years ago, I guess, or 3 years
When Mr.
ago.
Chiarsi came in 2011. That's when it
Oh, that's
changed.
what changed, oh, but the ordinance wasn't changed.
Correct.
Okay, now, so how is the remuneration handled now?
By contract, it's adopted by resolution every year.
Oh, okay. We go after an RFP?
Yes.
Okay, and just a jump, I had 1409 is exactly the same. Okay, thank you very much.
Anyone else have any questions with regard to that ordinance? There being none, may I have a motion to close the public hearing on ordinance 14-08?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
May I have a motion to adopt ordinance 14-08?
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance 14-08, Mayor.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any council discussion? Roll call please, Ms. Ariano.
Council President Palmer.
Aye.
Councilman Martin.
Aye.
Councilman Matthew.
Aye.
Councilman Neersted.
Yes.
Councilman Petrozelli.
Aye.
And Councilman Disco. Aye.
Now we'll move along to ordinance 14-09. Ms. Ariano, please read the ordinance by title only.
Yes, Mayor, an ordinance to amend 1416 compensation in Article 2, municipal prosecutor, in Chapter 14, municipal court of the Code of the Borough of Garwood to revise the method of compensation of the municipal prosecutor.
Is there any correspondence concerning ordinance 14-09?
None, Mayor.
Does anyone present wish to be heard concerning ordinance 14-09? Thank you. May I have a motion to close the public hearing on ordinance 14-09?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on the council? There being none, roll call please, Ms. Ariano.
Council President Palmer.
And that was to close the public hearing.
No, we didn't motion to move it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Motion to adopt, may I have a motion to adopt ordinance 14-09?
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance 14-09.
May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
No.
There being none, now we'll have roll call please, Ms. Ariano.
Council President Palmer.
Aye.
Councilman Martin.
Aye.
Councilman Matthews.
Aye.
Councilman Neerstedt.
Aye.
Councilman Petrozelli.
Aye.
And Councilman Fisco.
Aye.
We'll move on to our next ordinance this evening, that's 14-10. Ms. Ariano, please read ordinance 14-10 by title only.
Mr. Mayor, an ordinance to amend Chapter 111 massage establishments of the Code of the Borough of Garwood to repeal and revise certain requirements.
Is there any correspondence concerning ordinance 14-10?
None, Mayor.
Is there anyone present who wishes to be heard concerning ordinance 14-10? May I have a motion to close the public hearing on ordinance 14-10?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Yeah, second.
May I have a motion to adopt ordinance 14-10?
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance 14-10, Mayor.
And may I have a second to adopt?
Second.
Any discussion? There being none, roll call please, Ms. Ariano.
Council President Palmer.
Aye.
Councilman Martin.
Aye.
Councilman Matthews.
Aye.
Councilman Neerstedt.
Yes.
Councilman Petrozelli.
Aye.
And Councilman Fisco.
Aye.
At this point, we're going to move along to committee reports. Police committee, Councilman Martin.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. We've heard enough, I guess, about the street fair and how that went. I just wanted to, in the police report, sort of hook into other people that have helped out, because I think we really need to recognize the police as well as other people specifically. First of all, I think that we should all fully understand and appreciate the jewel we have here in Garwood with our wonderful police department. They're truly one of the finest things that we have here in Garwood to be proud of. They know residents by their name. They're friendly. They're efficient. They protect us and so on. They're a wonderful police department. And I think Chief Underhill put it best in his report to me on the day when he said there were very few and very minor incidents that occurred, nothing almost worth mentioning. And also he mentioned the members of the committee that put it together, of Garwood, the DPW, the fire department, the Union County Police Department, the SWAT team and bomb squad for their time and demonstrations, the Sheriff's Department, fees of the SLOT personnel, all the EMS personnel, which included units from Garwood, Cranford, Westfield, and the county, and last, all the members of the Garwood Police Department themselves, and once again did step up and all contribute to a wonderful event. We happen to have now in the audience Carol Carney, the Vice President for Garwood, Garwood branch of the Chamber, who was the prime mover in this and really the one responsible for bringing this into reality. So I just personally wanted to thank Carol and also let her know that we all appreciate her leadership in this role. So Carol, thanks for a wonderful job in doing this. So that all kind of hooks into my police report. So that's it, Mayor. Thank you very much.
You have heard the report of police. Do I have a motion to accept?
Be received and spread across the minutes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public health, Councilwoman Tedesco.
No report, Mayor. Meeting is next week.
Street roads and ecology, Councilman Neerstedt.
Thank you, Mayor. A few items. Just to bring the council up on a few things. The Borough submits recycling tonnage grant applications each year. that by necessity they are a year behind because you obviously can't submit a tonnage request until you actually know how much you've collected. The borough did recently receive $8,097 from year 2012. The use of these funds is strictly regulated and is used to augment the pay to recycling vendor. The recycling coordinator has completed and submitted the application for 2013, and we await receipt of those funds. The borough also receives Clean Community Grant funds, and we recently used some of those funds for the purchase of additional recycling containers at the schools, as there are garbage cans but no recycling containers at either Washington or Lincoln School. To update some other items, I reported at our last meeting that the 2002 garbage truck had died and needed to be towed. I'm glad to report that it has been resuscitated at a cost of about $3,500 and is back. The Yellow Borough Hall generator was installed in the DPW roof. It has to be structurally reinforced, and Don has made a recommendation to DPW exactly what to do. DPW hopes to have that work completed in-house within a month. They have been advised that it is safe. They do have a little time to fix it. I have spoken to DPW Superintendent Fred Corbett about the desire of some council members to repeal the leaf bagging requirement, and he looks forward to coming to a council meeting and discussing how the ordinance has been a benefit to the DPW staff. So I asked my fellow council members, I don't know what meeting you'd like me to come to. If we can pick one tonight, I can let them know to be ready to attend. I'd like to let the residents know that wood chips are available at the end of Willow Avenue, adjacent to the DPW yard, for free for all borough residents, and you can pick them up at any reasonable time. And last, I was asked at our last meeting how the street sweeper gets out, or how often it gets out. I was advised that the DPW uses it sporadically the first 2 weeks of the month and every day for the last 2 weeks of the month, depending on the need of staffing permits, and is seen by the guys as they pick up the garbage. So it does get out quite often. I was advised that Jeff Atkinson is actually the person who takes it out, and that's that. And other than if we have some kind of response for Fred to come to the meeting, that's my report now.
Thank you. You have further report of streets, roads, and ecology. Do I have a motion to accept?
Be received and spread across the minutes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Comment?
Yes, Mayor. A couple items. First of all, I think it's great that he'll come to a meeting. The next one would work for me. Why not?
Why don't we just check the schedule with Tina and see if he knows if anybody else is coming to that meeting for whatever purposes, or if Fred can attend?
I spoke to Fred, he can.
Okay.
We'll go over the next few meetings with him.
Okay, perfect. And also,
So are we all good on June 24th? Is that the right date? June 24th? Okay.
We have nothing else scheduled that you know of, Ms. Ariana?
No, not right now.
All right, then I will let Fred know.
and just one other item I had. Thank you for getting back to me about the street sweeper. I'm just curious as to how many times that means they sweep a street per month.
Tell you what,
Okay.
since Fred's gonna be here in 2 weeks, we
You
give
want
the
me to ask
exact
him?
dates, we can ask him. Because I already spoke to them, and it sounded odd at first to hear, well, it's out sporadically the first couple weeks,
Right.
and, you know. But what it comes down to is their schedule in terms of when Jeff is on the garbage truck, when he's not on the truck, when he's walking, when they see the streets need to be done. And it wasn't as if it's out twice a week or 2 times a month or what have you. There's more of a as needed, but they assured me it gets out more times than people think it gets out.
Okay, and that is great to know. I'm very happy with that answer, but if I know just a little more, which I'm sure
Sure.
Fred can give me, then I think it'll be that much easier to give the residents
Sure.
a straight answer.
I will tell them to be prepared for that too.
Okay, thanks. That's all I have.
Well, one thing I'd like to comment on as far as the street sweeper, I've called Fred and asked him a few times to go over by the athletic field to take care of the east and west side of Myrtle. Because people are really bearing the brunt of everything that goes on there. So he's, if I call him at 10 o'clock by that afternoon, he's got them out there.
Okay.
And I do have one thing, we got a new bus shelter installed, in front of the bank at the corner of Walnut and North. We need a trash receptacle on that side of the street.
Trash and
Recycling them. So that goes hand in hand, you know, Bill, about that.
All right, this is exactly what intersection?
It's at Walnut and North Avenue, right in front of Santander Bank.
Walnut Road.
Yeah. My husband keeps going out there and getting the garbage.
And if you finish, Mayor, I just thought of one other thing. For those who don't know about, the One Seat Ride, come October, it's going to include nightly trips to New York also. So October will start off-peak nightly.
What phase is that? Is that a new
That's phase two.
That's phase two,
That's
okay.
phase two. Phase three will be weekends and four will be peak.
I am going to ask our representative, since you mentioned it, and you mentioned about having Fred, I want to line up the time for the gentleman who's on tab to come and give us a little bit of a rundown of what's been going on.
Okay.
Okay?
You'll do that, or you want me to?
No, I'll reach
Okay.
out to him.
All right, thank you, Mayor.
All right, so let's get that. Doesn't have to be a big container. But some people don't want to fill this stuff. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, let's move along to fire, Councilman Mackey.
No report, Mayor.
Finance, Councilwoman Sidisco.
Thank you, Mayor. No real official report, but I just want to let everyone know that we are in the process of scheduling a meeting with the CFO, Borough Administrator, to discuss the budget now that we're reaching the halfway point in the year. So just want to let you know that.
Let's finish that.
I know, right?
Let's move along to buildings and grounds, Councilman Petrozelli.
Thank you, Mayor. The roof over the court office has been patched, and the DPW superintendent is in the process of getting estimates to make the permanent repairs to the roof, as well as getting estimates for replacing the carpeting that was damaged. And one other thing too, just to make note, is that the Buildings and Grounds Committee also had Mr. Corbett look into trying to modernize our thermostats, within the town hall here. And it turns out that our equipment is just too antiquated to do anything like that. So, we were trying to take it one step further to, saving energy, with the thermostats. It's just one thing that I wanted to look into, but unfortunately the rooftop units just can't handle it. So, and it would be just way too much money to adapt them to that. So, in the future, not now, somewhere way down the road, if we ever have to replace a rooftop unit, then they have technology where you can actually do it wirelessly and set it up. So, just wanted to report on that. That's all from my report.
Okay, thank you. You have heard the report of buildings and grounds. Do I have a motion to accept?
We received the spread across the fence.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any
It's
comments?
just Mike's words.
I just want to mention for those of you sitting up here who don't know, there have been an ongoing problem over the municipal court offices with the roof leaking, and which is what Councilman Petrozelli is referring to. Actually, it was one of the delegates at some point, yeah. So. that's
Apparently the
what we
roof
have
is
been-
really bad.
Yeah, it was very bad, but it was not the equipment that we have to maintain for reporting to the state. So, we're gonna go on with that. Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Laws and license, Council President Thomas.
No report, Mayor.
Recreation, Councilman Petrozelli.
Thank you, Mayor. The Recreation Committee is done with the interview process, and they will be hiring a new summer rec director for this year. Summer rec also starts June 30th. That's all for my report.
You've heard the report of recreation. Do I have a motion to accept?
You received and spread across the minutes.
Do I have a second? Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Council President Palmer, Committee on Aging.
No report, Mayor.
Library, I have a report. The library is gearing up for its annual summer reading. This year is the 20th consecutive. year that they're celebrating this, the same for this year, it's food will read, and there will be many crafts, will be science center, but still fun and entertaining. There will be crafts for kids on Tuesday afternoons at 3, and movies for kids on Thursday afternoons at 2 for the duration of the program. Sign up for the program begins Monday, June 16th. The logins of reading beginning on Monday the 23rd. The program will run for 7 weeks, ending on Friday, August 8th, and all children are encouraged to participate from pre-readers through the 8th grade. All active reading club participants will be invited to the library's end of the summer and spring party. On Tuesday the 17th, Dr. Bob White of Advanced Integrated Health in Springfield will present a program on thyroid, toxins, and weight gain, explaining how the thyroid can cause a variety of problems in other areas of our health and what we can do to alleviate the situation. This program will be presented at 7 p.m. and advanced registration is required. The director and the board of trustees of the Garwood Library would like to thank all the residents who stopped by the booth at the Garwood Rock Street Fair on Sunday to learn about the library. The library and staff are here for the residents and will be pleased to help anyone find what they need. And if we don't have it here, we'll get it for you through the interlibrary loan. Also, now that the summer is approaching, don't forget to check out their e-books. No heavy books to carry with you on vacation. Just download to your favorite electronic device. Weekday library hours remain the same throughout the summer with the exception of Saturday. The library will be closed Saturdays during July and August, and the outdoor book drop will remain open 24/7 for your convenience. That concludes my report of the library trustees. May I have a motion to accept the library report as presented?
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Second.
Any questions? Comments, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? School board liaison, Councilwoman Fiscal.
Thank you, Mayor. The last Board of Education meeting that I was actually able to attend was really mainly just an executive session of the board, and the board president came out just to let us know that they're discussing contract negotiations and will be sending a recommendation to the county superintendent for approval. Their last meeting took place the same time as our last council meeting, so obviously I was unable to attend that one. But it's that time of year where the school year is winding down, with the last day being June 20th, and 8th grade graduation will be later that evening at 7 p.m. And that's all for my report.
Thank you. You have further report of the school board liaison. Do I have a motion to accept?
Be received and spread across the minutes.
Do I have a second? Ms. Thomas? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Celebration of public events and holidays liaison, Councilman Martin.
New report.
Union County Air Traffic Noise Advisory Board Representative, Councilman Matthews.
No report, Mayor. The next meeting should be the end of this month.
Athletic Field Complex Project Committee Representative, Councilman Petrozelli.
Thank you, Mayor. The 2-week update is as follows. The electrical contract will have the electrical service completed in a couple more days with an inspection to follow from the Cranford Building Department. Public service will be out there as well to inspect before they will turn the power on. The baseball infield lines have been cut into the multi-purpose field. So now that field is 100% completed. The soccer goals are put together and are on the multi-purpose field. All but 12 plants are installed for the landscaping. And the grass areas are starting to take root. The area around the bocce ball court is framed out, and its sidewalk concrete will be poured tomorrow. Mulch areas around the plantings have been installed, and roof and gutters are still not completed yet. That's all for my report.
Thank you. You have further report of the Athletic Field Complex Project Committee Representative. Do I have a motion to accept?
Be received and spread across the minutes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
And any comments?
Lou, still on board, still on the schedule?
I haven't received a revised one. Can I give my opinion? I don't think so. I mean, they haven't even sheetrocked yet because of the roof and the gutter problem.
When are they expecting the roof? Do you know? I think they're waiting for something, really, no?
Yeah, they're waiting for a drawing about what to do around the exhaust areas where the exhaust and the intake come through. So that's why the roof is not completed yet. And you can't get a framing inspection to do the sheetrock without the roof being completed.
And the pieces that go around the exhaust, those are custom,
Yeah.
made, designed, and cut, special finishes. And then the gutters go on it.
Yeah, it kind of goes on simultaneously.
So the issue with the building, what about the site?
The site looks pretty good. I mean, you know, they have everything but the rest of those 12 plants now. And the sand, the capping area, that's gonna be getting mulch. So that's kind of the next step there. It's getting there. We also called out public service one more time because there's a guy wire that comes off the pole on the west side of Myrtle that kind of cuts right in front of one of the walking paths. So they want to move the pole, and I want them to move the guy wire. So hopefully they'll get back to us, you know, quick with that. But you know, the site itself is looking good. I mean, I don't know if you've been down there, but it's getting there. So it's just the building is the issue now with these issues with the roof and the gutters.
So you think we're talking a couple of weeks?
I've asked that question and no one wants to say anything just yet.
Parts of the roof are a prefab situation.
I think it's a matter of getting answers before they get the commitment schedule.
All right, you have heard, the report, the next comments, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Officers' reports, Ms. Mariano, please read the officers' reports.
Tax collector Aggie Creswell, monthly report for May 2014. Zoning code enforcement officer Lenny Stefano for May 2014.
Can I have a motion to accept the officers' reports as presented?
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Can I have a second? Thank you. Public comment. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address the mayor and council? Please step to the microphone, sign in if you would mind, and state your full name and address. Also, please limit your comments to approximately 3 minutes. It would be greatly appreciated.
Oh, okay.
Anything to say?
I'll make something up.
No, all right.
No,
Please
just
do.
something. Gotta keep signing.
Is this the third sign?
No sign again.
Who's it? Mr. Garwood.
No, it wasn't me.
Bruce Patterson, 325 Little Avenue, good evening, Mayor, ladies and gentlemen of the council. Yeah, I just want to ask Councilman Petrozelli, it piqued my interest about, they're waiting for a detail where the exhaust and intake go through the roof. I know you're an electrical guy, but it sounds so simple. I mean, you know, I've experienced penetration through the roof of all sorts. What exactly is the problem there?
Well, basically, you know, how they build a curve around it. The roofer didn't like the way that the curving was set, or the way that the curving was gonna be set, so he wants to do his own. However, whatever he designs has to be approved by the architect. So, and then they need to put some type of a cricket in between the two exhaust pipes, because that's where that's where the concern is, where the water could lay to, you know, have the water go around it. So that's pretty much what the holdup is on that.
Yeah, I tell you, you're talking like an intake exhaust, like a flue for a hot water heater. You could probably call it.
Well, these are a little bit larger. I mean, these are the exhaust and the intake for the kitchen.
Oh, the kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a hot.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting. I mean, it should be simple. I don't know how they came about with it's holding up this.
Been going on for a while.
And it's been going on for a while. And I'm just wondering, from what I understand, there's a townwide garage sale coming up. What do you mention that?
Is there a possibility of that one?
When is that, Ms. Ariano?
June 23rd, 21st, no, 23rd is the bulk pickup. I think 21st, right, Bill? Yes.
June 21st and 22nd, that is correct. And then the bulk pickup is the starting of the
Monday.
23rd.
Right.
Okay. How many homes signed up on that?
And so far, with, townwide, we're at about 40 houses.
Do they normally let us come in near the end?
No, that's half of what we had last year.
Yeah.
I'm going so well, but
Years ago, it was like.
sometimes that happens.
Right.
You know, people run out of stuff to sell maybe.
All right, then,
How many people sign up for bulk?
That I don't know.
How you doing?
I didn't ask her, I just wanted to know about townwide, and I asked her. But today's, to the middle of next week is the cutoff to sign up for vote.
Okay, any other questions or comments? And I have a motion to close the public comment portion of the meeting.
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Thank you. All right, let's move along to the consent agenda. Are there any resolutions anyone would like to leave before the consent agenda? May I have a motion to adopt the consent agenda as is?
I'll make a motion to adopt the consent agenda as is, Mayor.
May I have a second? Roll call, please, Ms. Ariano.
Council President Palmer.
Aye.
Councilman Martin.
Aye.
Councilman Matthews.
Aye.
Councilman Neersted.
Yes.
Councilman Petrozelli.
Aye.
And Councilman Disco.
Aye.
We are moving along. We have one resolution that did not appear on the consent agenda. And may I have a motion to adopt resolution number 14-220?
Mayor, I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 14-220, and that is, the first one is with the provision of eminent domain being authorized by the municipality.
I don't know about this, Bob, we've got two different options.
That's the one.
Well, he moved one, so that's the one you're gonna vote on first. So, actually, there isn't been a second to it yet, has there? So, we need a second.
No, not yet, I just didn't know how to handle it.
That's the
I'll
procedure.
second that.
Okay, we've got a motion been made and seconded to adopt resolution 14-220 with the with eminent domain clause included. Any further discussion?
I just have a question. What is the purpose of the eminent domain clause in this resolution?
The purpose of it is to ensure the borough is able to obtain public parking if it is not able to be realized through a plan that gets proposed. It's geared towards the public parking that so many residents have brought up and discussed, and Council President Palmer has brought up. That's the public purpose. None other, Jim. That's the public purpose.
And Jim, 2 meetings ago, we brought in Mr. Neighbor to give full explanation of it also. We had the opportunity to ask him questions, which I believe you did.
Yeah, I did. No, I did ask him, but I just want to make sure we're clear because I don't think it's clear at all. So it's we're going to take a portion of Casal property and the Petro property and use that for parking.
No, no one is proposing to take anything right now. All this really is, and I hate to use the term, but the toolbox. It's a tool that enables us to use it if we need it. If we don't need it, we don't use it. As Mr. Venegro mentioned, and I'll second it, and those of us who've been involved with eminent domain, it is not something you wish to pursue. I haven't worked on a single redevelopment plan, and I've worked on maybe 8, I don't want to mislead, probably about 8 of them between the Meadowlands Commission and Plainfield. We haven't used it at all, but you have it just in case you need it. So I don't want to mislead you. This is not authorizing any taking whatsoever. That, and Mr. Bernard, I asked you, correct me if I'm wrong, that is a totally separate action that if we wanted to pursue is down the road requiring a separate action by this council.
You have to pass an ordinance to condemn property.
Right.
This, to me, this seems very shady. It seems like an abuse of power. What Mr. Vinegro described when he was here the last time, I found to be offensive. Basically using this as a cudgel against private parties to take private property that we deem someone not sufficiently using and giving it to another private entity. If we were going to go ahead, at the risk of being repetitious, and expand the firehouse, expand the police station, expand the DPW, and there were adjoining private property, we were going to condemn it and expand those public facilities for a public purpose, this would be a no-brainer. But to have this thing lurking back there that we really don't need, but we might use, you know, folks, this is how the government takes away your liberty, all right? It takes it away slowly and with good justification, okay? It's always for your own good. I'm against this because I don't really understand what it is we need to reserve eminent domain for. We always have the power of eminent domain to take any property for a public purpose at any time. So I don't know why it needs to be reflected in this resolution. And unfortunately, I think that this is just one of those things where, you know, people say, don't worry about it, you know, just trust us. You know, it's not a personal, excuse me, it's not a personal thing, but I think government should be shackled. I think government should have clear lines drawn around it. And I believe government should be very, very, very circumspect in the use of its power. And to go ahead and use eminent domain like this is, to me, an abuse of governmental power without a clear idea of what it is. I'm firmly opposed to
You're
this.
just making a ridiculous speech. Can we just vote on this, please?
Mayor,
Well, anybody else has anything else to say, please say it now.
And let's move on.
I would like to just make one short commentary on this. First of all, it's not that we're using it, it's just in the toolbox, as Councilman Neerson said. However, my take on this, and maybe this is just the civics teacher in me, but it's government has the power of eminent domain as part of the Bill of Rights, something we've had since the late 1700s. I don't see why we need to give up that right. We can have a vote, a debate, and then a vote on whether or not we wish to use it when that time is appropriate. Mr. Vinegro said in all the projects he worked on, it came up about 1% of the time. I think he said he worked on over 100 projects with this, and he went into that detail. But it's something that the government does have the power to do from the Bill of Rights. It was there for a purpose. That doesn't mean that building the railroad and giving people very minimal money per acre was right. That's not right. And it's not the way eminent domain works today. It's a negotiation. If there is a party that is unhappy, then there could be a lawsuit as a result. So it's in government's best interest not to do the wrong thing by the property owner. But anyway, that debate can be had at a later time. I just don't see why we need to be so free giving up a power that was given to government in the late 1700s. That's all I have to say on this.
And I appreciate that. It's very true, Councilwoman Tedesco. Just to add to that, Jim, the only thing, and I don't expect this in any way to change your thoughts. No, I understand your opinion on it, and I respect it. But the one thing I just want to add is I am not, by this measure, talking about what was done in some of the shore communities where they literally took the property from one private developer and then would sell it to another. I have no intention, if the municipality needs the parking, I'm sorry, it's going to be if the municipality decides to proceed with this and is forced to because it's not provided for through a plan that comes forward, I believe the borough will own the property. I'm not talking about selling it onto a developer. I would hope that through the redevelopment plan process, the borough is able to obtain the parking through that plan that we need. Many times what has come out of the redevelopment plans today, what used to happen was the government would take the property and either the person, as Councilwoman Tedesco mentioned, would not be compensated properly, or today what the property owners are saying is, hey, make me a part of that redevelopment plan. And that's actually what is happening more and more, where developers are actually partnering with the present owners, where they do end up buying the property, but the partner actually, the person who owned the property becomes a partner, benefits through that redevelopment plan. So I don't want you to think that the purpose of this is to take it from party A and sell it to party B. If the borough needs the parking, it's going to be borough-owned parking.
We've had this discussion now. I appreciate your forbearance, Bill. We've had this discussion now enough, I believe. Can we vote on it, Mayor?
Can I just ask Attorney Renaud a question? Because I think things have just gotten muddy. Is there anything in this resolution or in the second resolution that would cause the borough to give up its right of eminent domain?
In the second resolution, the one that we're not voting on, if the council adopted that resolution, you could not exercise eminent domain under that resolution or any of the proceedings that are carried out pursuant to that resolution, including a declaration of that the area meets the criteria for an area in need of redevelopment, or anything that, in other words, you do have to start the process again if you decide at some point that eminent domain is needed. That probably doesn't exactly answer the question that you asked. It isn't an irrevocable giving up, but it is a giving up for the purpose of the project unless you change it, in which case you have to start all over again.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? We'll call for a vote. A motion has been made and seconded. There has been discussion, and I would like to remind you that we're voting on resolution 14-22, which will contain the provision with regard to eminent domain. Roll call, please, Ms. Ariano.
Council President Palmer?
Aye.
Councilman Martin?
Aye.
Councilman Matthew?
No.
Councilman Neersted?
Yes.
Councilman Petrozelli?
Aye.
And Councilwoman Tedisco? Aye.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. Is there any new business for mayor and council? Ms. Ariano, please read the name of the claim.
Be it resolved that the following claims as approved be, and the same are hereby ordered paid when properly signed and verified, and the payment of payroll as listed is hereby confirmed and ratified.
May I have a motion to adopt?
I'll make a motion to adopt the payment of claims, Mayor.
Second.
Roll call, please, Ms. Ariano.
Council President Palmer?
Aye.
Councilman Martin.
Aye.
Councilman Matthew.
Aye.
Councilman Neersted.
Yes.
Councilman Petrozelli.
Aye.
And Councilwoman Tedisco.
Aye.
I'm going to suspend at this point in time the regular order of business and call for a brief recess. We are going to go into executive session, however, it's a little early and the attorney has not arrived yet. All right, thank you. But right now, Ms. Ariano, please read the executive session resolution.
Closed session resolution authorizing the executive session for the purpose of discussing litigation relating to Ariana versus the Borough of Garwood, Mayor and Council of Borough of Garwood, and Councilman James Matthews, civil summons docket number UNN 4L44712, and matters of attorney client privilege relating to the above and in accordance with NJSA 10-4-12, closed session meetings open to the public, exclusion of public, subject of matter. Whereas it is necessary for the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Garwood to conduct an executive session closed to the public in order to discuss the above listed matter. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the Borough of Garwood hereby moves to go into executive session in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act for the purpose of discussing subjects stated above, and be it further resolved that the matters discussed in and in the minutes of the closed session shall be closed to the public when the reason for confidentiality be disclosed to the public when the reason of confidentiality no longer exists.
I'll move that resolution there.
Second?
Sarah, was that you?
Yes, I second it.
Let me just make note that, that no action will be taken during closed session, and I'll be leaving the council chambers for the executive session portion of the meeting relating to this case, and I will not take the minutes for the meeting, the mayor will take the minutes, and I will not return to the meeting.
Thank you.
But we're not going into executive session right away. We're going to recess, speak to our attorney.
Got a motion. Don't you love that?